Greetings to everybody. My name is Anmol Varman. I am an assistant professor from the Department of Visual Communication, Bharat University, Chennai. So I'm going to take the topic communication skills. So the first topic is the basic concepts, models, and types of communication. First of all, we will see what is communication. So, what is communication? A process by which information is exchanged between individuals through a common system of symbols, signs, or behavior. It means any kind of exchange of information or data or emotion via any medium, like you can just drawing a symbol, a sign, showing a sign, or just by your attitude or behavior, everything in which the exchange is happening, the information exchange is happening, means it is known as communication, right? It is also explained as a system for transmitting or exchanging information. Okay, so transmitting or exchanging, so it means it also includes all the telecommunication processes, such as mobile phone, smartphones today, and online media communication such as social media, online messaging such as WhatsApp. Everything is communication, right? And it is also explained as a technique for expressing ideas effectively. So this is very very important. Every communication should be effective if it should be successful. Okay, so if communication should be successful, it should be effective. In effective means there are many kinds of way which we can say a communication is effective. The thing which is communicated, the information should be clear, the information should be understood by the receiver. The sender should send the message properly in a proper channel with clear tones and clear vocal cords, so that the opposite person, the receiver, understands it properly. So that is an effective communication. It is also, the communication is also known as the technology of the transmission of information. So today there are many advanced technological developments in the process of communication. Today we are having advanced smartphones. Before a long period, people used to communicate with letters, with telephones, which was not much effective or which are advanced as it is today, right? So this is the basic idea of what is communication. So communication explanation, right? So we'll go for the next PPT. So this is a basic model of communication. So first of all, communication happens between two person, right? Any two party. It may be two persons, or maybe two kind of big group against a single person, or a single person with a double person. So there are many types of communication in regard with the number of people communicating, right? So with this, the first model we are going to see is two persons communicating. Okay, in this two-person communication there are two members, that is a sender and a receiver. Okay, so the sender is sending a message to the receiver. So this is a basic simple one line process of communication. The sender sends a message to the receiver. So simply a sender cannot send the message, so you need a channel to send. So the channel may be a television, the channel may be a mobile phone, a channel may be a letter, the channel may be a classroom, anything. Okay, so channel is through which the communication is happening. Okay, through which the communication happening is known as the channel. The sender sends a message through a channel to the receiver. Okay, here you can see there is encoding and decoding. Encoding means packing the message. Okay, so packing the message in a particular kind of package, so that only the receiver can open the package. That is encoding. Okay, decoding is opening the package. Okay, so encoding is the process done by the sender. Okay, and at the same time decoding is the process done by the receiver. So the sender encodes a message and sends it to the receiver through a channel, and the receiver receives the message and decodes. That means he opens the message, he opens the package, and he gets the information. This is the basic process. The final process is feedback. So when the receiver receives the message, he should send some response, right? So you should reply in some manner. That is known as feedback. Feedback is the very very important part of communication, because if the sender doesn't receive any feedback, the sender doesn't know whether the communication was proper or not, the communication is fulfilled or not. The communication gets fulfilled only when the receiver sends a feedback to the sender. So here we can conclude that communication is a two-way process. Okay, so it is not a one-way process. Communication is a two-way process, where the sender sends a message to the receiver, and the receiver sends a feedback message to the sender. So it is happening in a circular motion. So two-way process, right? Okay, so this is a basic model. We will go to the next model. So in communication models, Shannon and Weaver model is a very very important model. Here Shannon is a scientist. Okay, he's a social scientist. He's not exactly a biological scientist or a physics scientist. He's a social scientist, where he's denoting a communication model. What he's saying is, see, when you see the drawing, you can see the first column is containing information source. That is, information source means where the information is created. Okay, so for example, if I'm teaching a class, okay, where will I get the information? I will read in a book, or I will Google it. So that is the information source. The where is the source? Okay, from that I am taking the message, I am transmitting it to the receiver. Okay, so this model is particularly a technological model. Okay, for example, here you can see transmitter and receiver. Okay, so we can apply this model in some other kind of communications, like telecommunication, radio communication, and other phonetic communications, where it is happening via lines and wires, right? Right. So, and other important part is, see, there is a noise source here. What is a noise source in communication? A noise means it is nothing but any disturbance. Okay, any disturbance which is happening in a communication, it is known as noise. Okay, the disturbance may be some external noises, some environmental noises. It is also known as noise only in communication. Anything which affects the flow of the communication is known as a noise. Okay, right. So we'll go for the next model. This is we'll continue with communication are classified into verbal and non-verbal. Okay, so communication is classified into verbal and non-verbal. So these are all the basic and very important types in communication, that is verbal communication and non-verbal communication. So we have the answer in the name itself, right? So verbal communication means is the use of auditory language to exchange information with other people. So using auditory language, that is speaking or writing. Okay, so it includes sounds, words, or speaking. So these are all the key words in verbal communication: sounds, words, and speaking. Okay, so you can use a sound, any kind of sound. You can use words, that is writings, and you can speak to communicate. So now we are communicating in a verbal manner, right? So I'm speaking and you are listening. So this is verbal communication. See, the very important thing for an effective verbal communication is the tone, volume, and pitch of one's voice. The communicator's voice can all contribute to the effective verbal communication. So that is very very important. The tone, the pitch, how he is speaking, the volume. So these are all the very important factors which attracts, which attracts the receiver. Right? That is very very important. How you speak, how the communicator speaks, that is very very important. So an effective speaker should have good skills on his tone, maintaining his volume, maintaining his pitch. That is very very important, so that the listener can listen, receive the information in a flowed manner, in a proper manner, in a soft manner, without any disturbances. That is very very important in an effective verbal communication. So next is non-verbal communication. So non-verbal communication is nothing but the communication between people through non-verbal or visual cues. So what is visual cues? This is nothing but it includes gestures, facial expressions, body movements, timing, and touch. and anything that communicates without speaking. So in non-verbal communication, we don't use any words, we don't use any kind of letters or words or any symbols. Okay, we communicate only via visual medium. Okay, that is, if I'm showing a sign, if I'm showing thumbs up sign to you, it means that good luck for you or anything very good, like that. So this is a non-verbal communication. If I am angry, I can show that in my face, that is facial expression. So that is a non-verbal communication. My body movement, my body structure, even my dressing, okay, how I look, everything is communication. So everything is non-verbal communication. So that is very very important. Non-verbal communication means showing communication via gestures, facial expressions, body movements, or even touch also comes under non-verbal communication. Okay, so next thing is very very important. Next thing is very very important, and this thing is verbal communication, non-verbal communication, how it contributes in a overall communication process. See, when communicating, both verbal and non-verbal combine together when communicating interpersonally. Okay, so in an interpersonal communication, verbal communication constitutes only 35% of the effect, and non-verbal communication constitutes 65% of the effect in which the communication is happening. So this is very very important. Okay, so here see, non-verbal communication, the facial expression, the tone of voice, the movement, the eye contact, the appearance, the gestures and posture, these are all the things which contribute so much. That is 65% in a communication. This is the non-verbal communication attracts the other people more than the verbal communication. We can see it in the percentage ratio here, right? So this is very very important. You should know, in an effective communication, non-verbal communication plays a major role rather than a verbal communication. Okay, so communication elements. So there are four basic communication elements. The first one is kinesics. Kinesics, what is kinesics? Kinesics is nothing but it is known as the study of body movements. Okay, body movements, study of body movements. So what is your body language, how your body moves, so what are the actions you are doing, that comes under kinesics. Okay, so studying the body movements is known as kinesics. This term, the kinesics, was coined by the social scientist Ray Birdwhistell. His name is Ray Birdwhistell. So this is very important question. Okay, so that is kinesics. Kinesics means study of body movements. You should remember this. Next one is proxemics. What is proxemics? The branch of knowledge that deals with the amount of space that people feel necessary while communicating. This is very very important, guys. See, when communicating with any person interpersonally, that is face to face communication, when you are communicating to your mother or your father or your lover or your friends, see, there will be some kind of space in between you, right? So you will stand, in a further place while you are communicating with your principal or your dean or your professor, but the gap will be closed, the gap will be so short when you are communicating with the same matter with your friends or with your family members, right? You will be standing close to your friends while communicating, but you could not stand so close to your principal or your manager or your professor, right? So you need some gap, you need some space while communicating, right? In face to face communication, you need some space in between the two people, right? So that space is known as proxemics. Okay, so proxemics constitutes a very important part in communication, guys, because where you stand matters, right? So you cannot go and hug and keep a hand on your and the hand on the shoulder of your principal, right? So that won't happen. But the same thing you can do with your friends. Okay, so proxemics plays a very important role in the intimacy of the person with you are communicating, right? So if you are having a much more intimacy, you can be very close to them, the space will be very short. But if you are not very intimate to the person, if you are giving respect to the person, you'll be standing a meter away, right? Somewhat away from the person. So that is known as proxemics, right? Okay. So we have seen kinesics and proxemics. The next is paralanguage. What is paralanguage? So this is very very important part. Paralanguage is a very important question. Paralanguage means the vocal characteristics. That's it. So the vocal characteristics means the vocal sounds constitute paralanguage. That is the pitch, the tempo, the range, and the quality of the voice. So this is known as the paralanguage. See, while I'm speaking in a tempo, right? In a pitch. I'm having a proper range, proper quality of voice. So this is very very important while communicating. I cannot speak in a blabbering manner. I cannot speak without a tempo. I cannot speak very silently. So these all affect the communication. So in a proper communication process, paralanguage, that is the vocal characteristics, is very 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 important. So these are all the main three elements of communication: kinesics, proxemics, and paralanguage. So next we will go. So this is also known as a communication element, but this is actually a theoretical definition. That is global village. What is global village? See, there is a scientist, there's a social scientist who is known as MC Luhan. He contributed many theories and models of communication for us, right? So in the process of communication, he has explained many things. So he's a scientist, right? So he has explained a thing known as an ideology and a theory known as global village. So what is saying in global village? Let's see. MC Luhan explains that the world has become smaller than before because of the advanced communication technologies. Hence, he calls our world as a global village. See, guys, what he is saying is our world has become a village now, right? In a village, see, if something is happening in the first home, the news will spread very fastly to the end of the village, right? So everyone in the village will know each other. Everyone in the village, they communicate to each other. So anything happens anywhere in the village, each other people are in the village, they will know the information as soon as possible, right? So that is very very important in a village. So it is a very small area, very small community. So people will know, the gossip will spread like fire, the information will spread like fire. The same way, now the world has become a village because of the advanced technology in communication, right? So if anything is happening in America, Indians, us, we will know immediately, because we are having Facebook, we are having live newses. So we are having live YouTube. So everything will be immediately, in a minute we will get the information. If there is some war happening in Palestine and Israel, we will immediately know it there, right? So these are all because of the advanced development in communication technologies. So that is what MC Luhan has explained, and MC Luhan has explained this global village terminology not in the 2000s. He has explained in 1950s itself. So yes, he has he guessed that the world will become a global village, and he's explained the theory of global village in 1950s itself, right? That is very very important, right? So we'll go for the types of communication here. Types of communication, we have four types of communication, right? So intrapersonal communication, interpersonal communication, group communication, and mass communication, right? So first, intrapersonal communication. Intrapersonal communication can be defined as communication with oneself, that is communication within ourselves, okay? And that may include self-talk, acts of imagination and visualization, even recall, memory, dream, speaking with the god, speaking with the ghost, speaking with an illusion, speaking with yourself inside your inside your mind. Everything comes under intrapersonal communication. You speak with yourself. So intrapersonal communication, if some people is if some person is speaking with themselves, they are not mentally ill, okay? So that is not a mental problem. See, every human being, every sane human being speaks with themselves. So they communicate in an intrapersonal manner, because intrapersonal communication is very important in the development of human communication. Human self concept is very very important. So intrapersonal communication is very important in developing your characteristic, in developing your skills. So if you don't talk with yourself, how do you know about yourself? So intrapersonal communication is very important in our daily life. If you are not talking with yourself, start today itself, start talking with yourself, okay? So that you will correct your own issues, you will correct your own problems, and you will make yourself a proper, a good person, right? So personal tool, it's a very important tool in personality development. Speaking with yourself is very important in personality development. Okay, so it occurs when an individual sends and receives messages internally within himself, right? So there is a particular model of communication in intrapersonal communication. So that particular model is known as Johari window. What is Johari window? Johari window is very very important, guys. So Johari window is a very important personality developing personality understanding communication model. It's an intrapersonal model. So we will see what is Johari window. We will understand the basic concepts and the basic quadrants of Johari window now. See, Johari window means there are 4 quadrants in this window. So you can see, right? First one is open self, second one is blind self, third one is hidden self, and fourth one is unknown self. So these quadrants are arranged in a matrix type of manner. So that you see, in top you have known to self and unknown to self. In the side you have known to others, unknown to others. So you have to match the quadrants so that you can understand the properties of this open self, blind self, hidden self, and unknown self. See, the first one, open self. Information about you that both you and others know. That is, your open self means whatever you are showing to the public, okay, that is your open self. So you are the one showing, so you know what you are showing, right? So that is information about you which you know. At the same time you are showing it to the public, so others also know what you are showing. So your open self will be known by both you, at the same time the opposite personality, right? That is open self. Okay, known to self and known to others. Next is unknown to self and known to others. That is your blind self. Blind self means information about you that you don't know but others know. So this is something you do which is which you don't understand, which you do not know, something which you don't know but you are doing it, but other people, the people who see you, they know. Okay, so sometimes your mother or your father may correct you, your teacher may correct you, okay, but you don't know that you are making a mistake, right? You do it unknowingly. That is your blind self. But others will know that and they will say that to you, okay, you are doing like this is not a proper way. So they will advise you, right? So that is very very important. That is known as blind self. Next is hidden self. Hidden self means information about you that you know but others don't know. So this is very very important, guys. See, everybody has a hidden self, right? So everybody has secrets. So you know you have some secrets which only you know. Other than you, nobody else, even your close friends, your spouse, your mother or father, nobody else will know, which something is only will be inside yourself. That is hidden self. Okay, no person can be 100% open to everybody, right? So something will be hidden inside them. So that is known as hidden self. So that is known to self, unknown to others. And the last one is unknown self. So this is a blank space, guys. Here, information about you that neither you or nor others know. Okay, this is unknown to self and unknown to others. See, here, something like if you're having a mental illness, if you're having a mental breakdown, like if you're walking in the sleep, you don't know, right? You don't know that you're walking in the sleep unless and until a person in your home notices. They also don't know that you are walking in the sleep. So something is happening, something is going on in your mind, or something you are doing physically or mentally, which even you don't you realize. At the same time, the people you know, they also don't realize unless until they come and watch it. Okay, so that is known as unknown self. Okay, so this is Johari window. So you should know all these four quadrants, and this Johari window is somewhat confusing sometimes. Okay, so which comes under which place, it will be very confusing. You have to be very careful while making Johari window. Okay, Johari window was created by Joseph Lofton, Harrington Ingham. These guys are also social scientists. They illustrated this process of Johari window, this four quadrants, and this model, right? So this is one of the model of intrapersonal communication. So now we will go for interpersonal communication. It is a universal form of communication which takes place between two individuals. Okay, so two people person to each other, they communicate to each other. That is known as interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication is the process by which people exchange information, feelings, meaning through verbal and non-verbal communication messages. It is also known as face-to-face communication, right? So you now understand interpersonal communication means communicating between two persons. Intrapersonal means communicating within ourselves, right? So interpersonal communication has three stages. Okay, the fatigue stage, the personal stage, the intimate stage. Fatigue stage means the initial exploratory stage in between two persons. That is saying hi, hello, or how are you to the person first you meet. So that is the fatigue stage. That is the basic stage. Okay, handshakes, meeting of eyes, smiles, giving a smile. That is the first stage. Okay, the second stage is personal stage, where the second stage introduces a more personal element into the conversation, such as you are discussing your profession, your family, your health problems you are discussing with your friend, right? So that is personal stage. The third one, intimate stage, is very important. This happens only with very close friends, life partner, family members only. Okay, this stage is for friends and relatives. The intimacy degree depends upon your relationship status. Okay, so you can only discuss something, some personal things only with some life partner or family members or friends. So that is the intimate stage. Okay, these are all the three stages of interpersonal communication. And next we will move on to group communication. It is an extension of interpersonal communication where more than two persons are involved in a communication. Okay, so we have seen inter, and now we are going to group communication. In intrapersonal communication, only you are communicating within yourself. Okay, in interpersonal communication, two people are communicating. In group communication, see, a group of people communicating, more than two people. Okay, for example, family meetings, or friendship circles, or work teams, committees, sport teams are all the examples of group communication. There are two types of group communication, that is primary and discussion group. Okay, primary group is informal, discussion group is formal. Primary group is less goal oriented, discussion group is goal oriented. And the primary group has general random topics, and the discussion group is mostly specific topics. Okay, primary group may be flexible and comfortable, discussion group will be rigid and professional. So how we can give an example is, in primary group, friends chatting in a tea shop, or you are just speaking with your group of schoolmates after the class is over, right? So that is primary group. Discussion group means an official meeting in your office, or an official meeting in your school, anything. Okay, that is the discussion group. That is, the discussion group will be formal and it will be official, right? So that is the discussion group and the primary group. So the differences, right? Next, at last, we are going to the mass communication. Mass communication is a process in which a person, group of people, or an organization sends a message through a channel of communication to a large group of anonymous and heterogeneous people, right? So we are sending a message to a large number of people. Okay, large means it exceeds the group communication. That is a mass number of people. who are anonymous and heterogeneous. Anonymous means you don't know them, and they also don't know, you. So that is a large number of audience. Okay, they'll be anonymous and heterogeneous. Heterogeneous means they won't share a same kind of social level or thinking ability. They will vary in everything. They will vary from, they will be from different community, they will be from a different background, right? So that is heterogeneous. The audience and the communicator can be physically separated in terms of space and time. That is, you won't be in the same place and you won't be in the same time when communicating. For example, that is when you are communicating through a movie, the movie was shot long back before, but the audience is watching now only. The communication is happening, but the communicator and the receiver, they are separated in space and time, right? TV shows or recordings. Feedback is in mass communication is compared to interpersonal communication is slow and very weak, right? That is also very, very important. Okay, so this is mass communication. So with this we will conclude the PPT today. Okay, so this is what we have learned. So we have learned the basic models, the basic concepts and the theories in communication. We will meet in next class. Thank you.